Rock on. Conquerors, roll out. You're watching or listening to We Got Your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime. We are We the People, the People's Patriot Project.
Looking for a place to put your skill set, your thoughts, and ideas, or want to help continue the mission? You have come to the right place. We are the People's Patriot Project, and we are the shock and awe when it comes to meeting the needs of our veterans and first responders. We are dealing with a new enemy in today's world where the wounds are not always seen. We want you to be a part of this mission in saving lives and making a difference. Welcome to We Got Your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime. Here's the WeP3 Team bringing you today's best heroes hits in the boots on the ground organizations that are saving lives. And as always, Patriot Pride.
Left, your left, hey. Left, right, your left. You got it.
Rock on.
Good evening. It's Andrea Eichmann here, and I am with you on December 4th at 6 o'clock with We Got Your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime. We bring this show to you every week on Sunday evenings, and we always bring a new guest and a new musician. Well, I shouldn't say always. Mostly new musicians and new guests. We share the good and not so good things that are happening in our world. Tonight, we've got a couple really cool people for you to meet. We have got our Bourbon battle buddy, Jonathon. You got to correct me, Crochet. We'll also have the amazing Tammy Jo Dabbs joining us. She's going to entertain us with her fun music, her sweet music, and her spirit-filled personality. Before we do get started, however, I would like you to take off your hats, stand if you can, and cover your heart, and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, folks. Oh my goodness, Timothy, hello. Hello, Derek. Hello, Gary. Hello, Facebook user. And Jeremy Daniels. Thanks for being here tonight. And welcome to Tammy Jo. And sorry, Jonathan. Did I say your last name right?
That is it.
I was practicing all week, and then I was like, what if it's wrong? What if it's wrong? And then I would say it wrong, and then here we are. Tammy Jo, that was a lot
better than what I've been called before.
Well, I had a couple of thoughts in my mind when I was about to say it. But Tammy, Mark put this hello from Derek. And I was like, how on earth did Tammy Jo get Derek Iozio Catch-22 peer support on her name? That was weird.
No idea.
This one right here. Look at that.
Yeah, watch. Yep, there it is. I was like, oh.
Look, there's Derek Iozio there.
That was fun. Little strange things happening. Timothy Newton, the mom in me has got to say, behave yourself just a little bit, buddy, just a little bit.
He's like the little brother that you know it's just going to happen, and it's just like, okay,
right. The fun part of me is like, hey, don't stop what you're doing. It's a good time. Keep it up. It's all rocking. Nobody ever is remembered for just always never being obnoxious or loud or having too much fun.
I can imagine a church pew full of Eichmann boys. That's what I can think of.
I took my little Emmeline to church with me this morning. Scared, a little bit scared. She has chapel at her preschool, but she was the best little girl. It was so cool. And then there was a pancake breakfast afterwards, so we got to go see my dad pouring coffee, flipping pancakes.
Mr. Nobles was flipping the fluff butters.
Yep. And then it was weird because a whole bunch of my girls I teach 8th grade, a whole bunch of my 8th grade girls, I say mine, I don't even have some of them in class or volleyball, but they're doing their confirmation hours. And my dad came home and he said, those girls stuck around and cleaned everything up and put it all away. I'm like, that's my girls. So girls, if you're watching, they're not watching. They're doing homework. They're not watching.
Right?
Tammy's here. 8th graders. Well, okay, let's get this rolling. What do we want to start with, Peterson?
Well, let's get the news out of the way, because it always, if we don't do it first, then we always get into a conversation, and then it always kind of drags us down at the end. Not that.
And then I got a message. I'm like,
down. It's just,
am I doing this news tonight, or should we skip?
Right.
But you know what? Tonight I will, because it's not that there's nothing in the news. There's probably too much in the news. But what I did this time is I went back, because I've been doing some first responder stuff, and we've got a lot of veteran stuff out there. I went back and looked at this day in history. Well, not actually today, but coming up on the 7th is the Pearl Harbor attack in 1941. On Sunday morning, December 7th, 1941, the American Army and Navy base in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, was attacked by the Imperial Japanese Navy. The attack came as a surprise to the American Army and Navy and led to great losses of life and equipment. More than 2,000 American citizens were killed and more than 1,000 were injured. The Americans also lost a large proportion of their battleships and nearly 200 aircraft that were stationed in the Pacific region. More than 60 Japanese servicemen were killed, injured, or captured. The Japanese Navy also lost 5 midget submarines and 29 aircraft. The Japanese military had hoped that the attack on Pearl Harbor would prevent the USA from increasing the influence in the Pacific. However, the events in Pearl Harbor actually led to the escalation of World War II. The day after the attack, the United States declared war on Japan and so entered World War II. President Franklin Roosevelt, in his speech to Congress, stated that the bombing of Pearl Harbor was, quote, a date which will live in infamy, end quote. Shortly afterwards, Germany also declared war on the U.S. In the months that followed the attack, the slogan, Remember Pearl Harbor, swept the United States, and radio stations repeatedly played a song of the same name. So that is what we have on our history and news for this week. Pearl Harbor.
What a change in history. I mean, a piece where, no one had ever really attempted or tried to influence a war on our ground. And, as we know, it's happened twice since then. And Pearl Harbor and then 9/11. But outside of the Civil War and the Revolutionary War, none of that stuff is taking place. I mean, we could talk about some significant changes in our culture and in our land, in our country, and we're always growing, which I appreciate. That we have enough common sense that we can continually grow. There's some weird pieces to the Japanese related issue and the culture that happened to America, and I don't know that a lot of Americans realize that we actually had Japanese concentration camps in the United States at that time. Not quite like what was happening in Germany. And historically, I don't like sharing this, but I hear amazing stories coming from this. But my grandmother was a guard up in Williston, North Dakota, at a Japanese concentration camp. It was a little bit different because she would take people that were in that camp to her home, and they would make dinners for them and kind of took care of them. Not that I'm saying that wasn't, I'm not trying to polish a turd here. It's a lot different than what was happening in the Nazi concentration camps and a little bit different. And if you ever look up, there's a picture at the beginning of our show. Back in the day, we were working on a concept called Heart Mountain Productions. There's a mountain out in Cody, Wyoming called Heart Mountain. And if you Google it, you'll find that one of the blemishes on our society is there was a Japanese concentration camp right off of Heart Mountain, and it was called the Heart Mountain Relocation Center. And so, again, not intent in celebrating that, but just that is an iconic mountain to me, and that was where the direction was going. But just interesting history and life and world pieces that not a lot of people have invested in those knowledge. And so Hearts Go, we don't really have a whole lot of people who are formally engaged and alive and involved with that as far as World War II. There are, and I haven't done the research, but I do know there's a couple survivors still left alive for that. But with that, I would like to, in memory, raise Dean Markison. He was a Vietnam first sergeant, actually from Andrea's community, who passed this week. He had a nonprofit called Foss and Swanson, and he knew the history of those names and worked diligently in his life to make life better for veterans across the state of Minnesota. And our hearts go out to the Markison family tonight, and so we're with you.
He touched a lot of people. It's crazy. I just looked before we started here tonight, and he really did touch a lot of people. Not just in our town. He was actually is it a commander at the VFW? Mm-hmm. For quite some time, and even when he stepped down, he cared a lot, and his heart was always good. He was always a first sergeant as well, but his heart was always good. So
that becomes the problem.
Yeah.
Good old Tops.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Mm-hmm.
So.
His building now is called Rise Up, and I have not yet stopped in. But I did see some pictures of them working with him, and so I know not just homeless veterans. He was concerned with all the homeless, and I want to say that it may have something to do with that, but it's definitely community centered, with veterans always at the heart. So good guy. Thank you, Dean Markison.
All righty. Well, look at our amazing panel tonight. We got the one, the only Tammy Jo Dabbs. My gosh, what an angel. What there's a piece, and I've already apologized to her for this, but when we were doing our Nashville takeover, we got to do it. Just oops. Yeah, we'll just, because this is my favorite picture. No one knew this was happening. This is part of our Nashville takeover at the Buffalo River Resort, and no one knew that they were taking a picture of a shooting star across the sky there, but there it is. And we had our people down hanging around the campfire, and we had our people hanging around. There might have been a large beverage counter about 10 feet behind whoever was taking this picture, and everyone was enjoying it. It was after. Was that after? I don't think, because it was dark by the time we ended our set that night.
Yeah, I think we hadn't even eaten yet when that was. Yeah. So
Miss Dabbs she was doing tracks because she works with a band, and she came out to sing, and our audio didn't pick up her instrumental tracks, but she sat there and she sang it out like a rock star because she could hear it clear as day. We could all hear it clear as day. You just can't hear it on the feed, but she sounds amazing nonetheless. And it was such an awesome blessing to have you come join us down in Nashville. I hope it was worth everything that we felt it was worth.
It was. It really was. I had the best time. Met the most amazing people, you and Andrea and all the musicians and just people. Just honored and humbled to be there.
It's we have a lot of conversations in regards to what people got out of it, and it was the relationships. It was the chance to be part and amongst each other's craft, and just and we've shared this story 100 times. Scott D. Taylor, I'm sorry I'm interrupting. Good to see you, brother. Phenomenal guitarist. Love his stuff, love his work, veteran. There's so many nuances in these events, and no one really understands when we've done these events what the plan is. I mean, what am I going to get out of it? And then once we get in the middle of it, everyone's just like, oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting anything like this at all. And it's the camaraderie. It's the working together to put out a product. And then, oddly enough, when we're done doing our sets, we always go back to our place of residence while we're there, and everyone starts jamming together. And those are my absolute favorite times, is when the musicians bring their skill sets and they meld them together. And so it was amazing. I'm spoiled. I know Andrea's had that conversation. She's spoiled. We get way more out of it than people realize, and it's you're a blessing. Thank you for joining us out there.
Oh, I had a blast.
You know what? I have some video with some of the backtrack and the audio. I will make some more reels because I'm having a lot of fun making reels. So listen up, check our site. We'll put it all over.
She's a real monster now.
I'm trying.
That was going to happen.
I don't even know what I'm doing, but it's okay. I will keep working at it.
Well, and then we have Jonathon here, who comes in like a wrecking ball, kind of, so to speak. Hurricane. I don't know what would we call it. But,
just because the head's bald, man.
I want to do the run-in song. We'll pull up the Miley Cyrus wrecking ball song. No, I won't do that to you.
I'm not doing it.
No. No. But Jonathon has a social media outreach called the Bourbon Battle Buddies, and I've absolutely adored the messages you've been putting out on the daily recently, and just getting back to the square one. I mean, and not being full of yourself as part of the message, but being full of everything. Taking one step at a time and realizing, you know what, you better take a look around, because this might be the only time you get to take this one step.
Yeah.
And that is kind of the fun part about even like bringing up the picture I just brought up, that you get to see this experience. Pictures, I watch other people do pictures of sunsets and sun. I was going to say sundowns, but that's a sunset, right? Sunrises, and or the beach and this and that. And I never get intrigued by the pictures, and again, because pictures never do the work that being there in person is. But I was there. And everyone but Jonathon, unfortunately, was there. Jonathan's going to be there next year, I think. But everyone that got to experience that can take that in and say, man, I was there. I felt that. I know what the feeling was. I know what the music was playing. I know what the food was going on. I know all that piece is a package. And that's why that picture means so much to me. Not because it does look kind of cool, but you'll never know the impact it has until you're actually there at the experience. And so, no, but that's what Jonathan's messages are about, is taking one step at a time, one day at a time, moving forward, and not sitting back. And if you get a chance, make sure you are checking out the Bourbon Battle Buddies social media pages to see those messages. And we're going to hear more from him in a little bit here. What have you been working on lately, Tammy? Tammy Jo.
I just finished a music video. Heather and Chris are in the process of editing it. That was a blast. And I'm working on writing some new songs. Just trying to stay busy, really busy with my music.
Well, and you do stay busy, and you're always posting, and we love watching what you're doing. Andrew, did you see Travis Partington here? Is that why that's on there?
Yeah. Yep. He's here. He was our Facebook.
Oh,
person.
yes. What a blessing. Oscar Mike Radio. Check him out. Amazing. We had an awesome chance to spend a lot of time with Adam Bird on his last post this last Friday. And that's with Heroes Media Group. Make sure you're checking them out as well. Tammy, I wasn't able to Reverb Nation isn't my friendliest friendly. Not that we hate Reverb Nation. No, we don't hate you. We're just learning you. And we are actually currently working on putting together, and we do usually have access to the musicians that come in and frequent us, which we'd consider you one of those. We're going to create kind of a radio station concept with Reverb Nation as well, but they wouldn't let me steal one of your songs tonight, which is that's life. We'll get there. We couldn't load Put Me on the Spot.
Yeah, that's on Reverb Nation.
Yeah.
It's probably.
Which song would you like to start off with tonight?
Let's do my latest one, Get My Cowgirl On.
Mm-hmm. Let's do that.
Get My Cowgirl On. You got a story behind that?
I think it just fits every woman. I'm sure Andrew can relate to it. You cook, you clean, you do the day in, day out, go to work, come home, just be a wife and a mommy, and somewhere along the way you kind of lose yourself, and you're just ready to get your cowgirl on.
So can guys get your cowgirl on?
They can get a cowboy on.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Well, some of the things you listed off are things that I tend to spend some time doing around my hacienda. So it's just wondering if
Mark, but okay.
Put me in the spot. I'm just kidding. This is Tammy Jo, Cowgirl On.
Can take, keeping house and baking cakes. Some days just feed one to another. Pressure feels like a pot of hot tea. Gotta change up the recipe, add a little spice before I smother. Well, that's not the way a lady behaves. That's what my grandma said. Now she's rolling over in her grave, 'cause I'm ready, so ready to get my cowgirl on. I'm ready, so ready to get my cowgirl on. So off the flight, slide on the boots. You better be fast for this hot pursuit. I'm ready, so ready to get my cowgirl on. But out all day, gotta look the part. It's like a mom pushing a grocery cart, but everybody knows looks can be deceiving. Casual jeans, high-tuck shirt, and a ponytail clip sure wouldn't hurt. Don't hate me, but what's hiding up my sleeve? If Grandma was here, I'd tell her it was progress. As soon as she calmed herself from gasping at my dress. 'Cause I'm ready, so ready to get my cowgirl on. I'm ready, so ready to get my cowgirl on. So off the flight, slide on the roof. You better be fast for this hot pursuit. I'm ready, so ready to get my cowgirl on. Well, call me Thelma, call me Louise. When the sun goes down, I'm gonna do as I please. Unleash the hair, lose the glasses, watch the heads turn like slow molasses. I'm ready, so ready to get my cowgirl on. I'm ready, so ready to get my cowgirl on. Come off the flight, slide on the booth. You better be fast for this hot pursuit. I'm ready, so ready
Well, that puts a little boogie in your woogie. And we got to see those songs live in Nashville, and that was a fun part as well too. And enjoyed everything that you brought to the table while you're down there. Tell us about your service, ma'am. Tell us where you've been, what you did, and how maybe that influenced your music career.
I don't know if it influenced my music career other than really lighting a fire up underneath my honey butt, kind of, sort of speak. I didn't have a really good experience through the Army. I went in 2001. Just a really difficult time. It's something that I want to start up. I actually had intended to speak to you and Andrea about it for rape victims that are actually veterans, because it does happen. It happens to men and women. Because I had a really bad experience. I stayed in for 3 years, and my husband deserved a medal. He was very patient and understanding. I ended up having to do a 21-hour post, injured my knee on top of some other personal things I was going through while I was in the Army, and had to have emergency surgery, shattered my knee, left knee. It was just miserable. I know a lot of people have all these great stories. I do not. I could not wait to get out. Through while I was in the Army.
Oh, sorry. I wasn't even touching it. I don't know what just happened. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, Tammy Jo, I'm sorry that happened. That's
I would love to start an organization for people, like a nonprofit, to help the victims come forward, because when I came forward, actually I was confronted by other officers and through the Army, and was given a choice. Somebody had seen certain things, and then 30 other women came forward from the same man, and I answered to. So it's kind of devastating. But I got my justice, and so did they.
I don't know if there's ever justice. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm sorry. It's a piece that I
got justice.
Sure. It's a piece, and I've never been able to understand it. And I'm not going to say I was the perfect male soldier. I won't ever say that. But, I mean, I never crossed any lines, but there's a piece. And I bless your heart. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your battles. Military sexual trauma is a huge piece that is coming to the front right now. There's some amazing stuff out there, and I'm going to be terrible. I just watched a documentary, and I can't remember the name of the documentary, and everyone is going to say, "Oh, what's this documentary?" It's something that is been around, and unfortunately has been around for too long. And I don't know that. I don't know. Because I'm going to get stuck between a rock and a hard spot here, because you end up having the conversation, should women be in the military? Yes, women should be in the military. I'm going to say that right now. The way women were treated, in my experience, should not necessarily be the place. And I came from the artillery world. And again, when I was in, not many females were involved, other than when we got back to headquarters. There were your medics, your cooks, your radio, your talk. I mean, and we had a ton of females in our unit. I just didn't necessarily think that they're always treated fairly and right on many levels, just not the military sexual trauma piece either. And I'm not here to call anyone out, but if I ever saw anything that would have been off color or offline, I definitely would have been involved. But I do also remember out of basic training, some experiences that I had that, I mean, I'm not the victim here. I'll tell you that right now. But I mean, there were some things that I saw that I wish didn't exist in this world. And I would full-heartedly be aboard on working towards a piece. And I don't necessarily want to recreate the wheel because I know that there's organizations out there that are doing this, but I mean, I do think there needs to be a facet, a cog within WeP3 that definitely attacks. It needs to be an attack of this kind of behavior. And it's the same thing on social media. And again, sometimes I engage in the conversation with people that I think are in it for the right reason. And I'll just say females, and they're not engaging at all, which is fine. And I don't cross any lines with that. And then they, turn around and say, you know what, I just don't want another dick pic. And I'm like, you got the wrong guy. But it's just the way women are treated in general. And it's disgusting. And it needs to be dealt with and fixed. And so.
And also men too. Don't forget, they get abused too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that was one of our first guests we had on the show was a male that had dealt with military sexual trauma. And I mean, I'll be full. I'm naive, and that's something that I would never even think of and didn't know existed. And since our good friend shared his story, just as so many stories have come to light with that, and I'm just like, this is the piece where you're not that clean-cut all-American soldier. There's some stuff in there, and that we've never, ever said just because you're a veteran, just because you served, you're not your hero. I mean, that's not. We believe our service members are heroes, but you kind of have to fit the full package as well, and that is not engaging in some of the stuff. And I know that comes from some of the pieces where we got people in leadership that maybe shouldn't be in leadership. And I mean, there's some of the truth. And so thank you for thank you for being able to share the story to begin with. And I'm sorry that your experience in the military wasn't that great. And it sounds like for a number of reasons, we hold you in high esteem because you made the decision to be part of something that was bigger than you and gave an opportunity to do that. So, wow. Who would have known?
Yeah.
Right off the top, Tammy Jo, I sent you a name. Someone who would be super interested in working together on that as well. So ask questions.
Yeah.
And let me know if you can't get a hold of him. I've got his number as well. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, for sure. For sure. Just a dude that wants to make a big difference in the world. So that world
and he's constantly finding niches to serve and be part of something bigger than him. And that's the amazing piece of the network of the WeP3, the People's Patriot Project Network is, I won't say all, again, it's kind of who's that clean cut American soldier / first responder. The majority of the people that come into this network want to make a change. Mm-hmm. And we appreciate that. And we're all about promoting and being involved and being ahead. That's called the tip of the spear. Moving forward and making a positive change with positive words, positive mission. And I mean, here's the truth. And again, I'm not making light of this by any sense. You could crawl up and curl up in a ball and say, you know what, I'm going to hide that in my history and not let anyone touch that. And you're being bold and strong and saying, you know what, this is a chance to make a change. And so you are appreciated. And I'm sorry for the suffering and pain you had to be involved with.
It made me stronger.
There's that. Right? Lessons learned.
I'm struggling. Only in the fact that it sucks that you have to go through a lesson like that to become stronger. And it's not the way I think it's supposed to be. But
in that, because it wasn't just that, it was domination of my entire life and other men and females' lives other than me. So it was bigger than that.
Sure. Well, and I appreciate that. I mean, that's who am I to say that? I saw this wonderful, I don't know what you would call it. It was a news broadcast, and there was this anchor who had enough. He was just, and he said, I can't speak on it's a white man. I can't speak on the perspective of being a black person. I can't speak on the perspective of being Jewish. I can't speak on the perspective of being a female, but I can speak on the perspective of this. And in this particular case, it's being the father of some children and some of the nonsense that's going on in our society right now that's coming to the festering to the top, which it's unfortunate that I don't, whatever. It gets us on that political talk and what's right, what's left. And here we're trying to be in the middle and accommodate everyone's needs. And apparently privileges are handed out to some people, and that's just not something that I tolerate very well. So I apologize for getting tongue-tied and flustered. It's just we have to keep a certain level of integrity on this show, and want to do that in the show. But I'm kind of the guy that says some heads need to fall, and that's just where I stand on some of that. But Bourbon Battle Buddies, let's what was your message today? I didn't even look to see what it was today. I wanted to hear it from you.
I didn't put anything out today. I was kind of getting
great.
Kind of take the weekend off a little bit, But
fair enough.
I'm gearing up for tomorrow, which I don't know if it's. I heard it for the first time today, and it was super powerful. It was I don't even know if I could say it any better than he did, or well, I definitely can't. But I'll probably end up just reposting with what the video from him. But it was a speech from Tim Tebow, and it was about not living your life for success, but living it for significance. Success is about yourself. Significance is about others.
We can get into a long conversation about Mr. Tebow. And the one thing I want to say is I don't know many men who have the integrity that man has, yet our culture and our society has pushed to cancel him in so many ways. And when you are, it's like, and I'm not, he's not Jesus. He's, don't get me wrong, but his integrity is above reproach. And why do we get stuck in these situations? This is a great subject matter. This is for anyone that wants to jump in. Why, when you've got something good going on, does our society try to tear it down? Mm-hmm. There's some irony in this. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I
don't have an explanation for that either.
Why, when there is something, why would someone want to tear down the next person when you are seeing success in their life?
I think it's a lot of people are jealous, envious. They want to do it, but they don't have the willpower. Maybe, I don't know.
I think people hold on to others, and they get attached to things, but people tend to want to stay on the same level with others so they can maintain the connection, but they're not willing to grow when others grow. They want to keep people on their level instead of growing to new heights with them. You know what I mean?
Jeremy says financial gain. All right. Could be.
No, well, because the good stuff doesn't sell. I mean, if it did, we would have full churches and emptier bars and professional sports games. You know what I mean? I'm not saying those are bad things at all.
Sure.
I'm just saying, I mean, sometimes we miss church because we go to different things like that. And I don't know. Or we would go volunteer. You don't have to go to church, but you would go volunteer. You'd drop more money in the Salvation Army bucket. You would, you know what I mean? That that some people are stuck in or we would hear the stories about that more often. I don't, and if you go back to Tebow personally, I mean, seriously, he was a victim for being good and for trying to do good, even if it was good in his heart and nobody else really thought it was good. It was not hurting anybody else. So it's just, I don't know. And I look at all kinds of
The man
things.
tried to promote good. He tried to promote everything that was good, and the entire college football world changed because of it.
Yeah,
Well, the professional football world changed because of it too.
absolutely.
And at one point, they were even trying to compare, and I'm sorry that this is festering a hot spot, but they were trying to compare the same knee he would take to the same knee that Colin Kaepernick would take. Two different things.
Yeah.
But, and again, there's a lot of people that get upset with Colin for his taking a knee and for the purpose and the reason. And I actually, and you're going to think I'm crazy, I actually hold him in high esteem because he actually was sitting on the bench when he first started making his message, and a special forces soldier wrote him, had a conversation with him, and he changed from sitting on the bench to taking a knee, which, you know what? That's a step in a positive direction, in my opinion. I know there's a lot of people that are still upset. You know, we can talk about kneeling on the flag. That wasn't the case. You can talk about standing on the flag. That wasn't the case. I know those all get looped up in the same thing, and it is what it is. But the knee that Tebow took was different than the knee that Colin was taking. And one was because one was praying to their deity. One was making a statement for police brutality. It's different. I'm not saying one was right or wrong. I'm just saying they're different.
Timing.
And they both accomplished what they wanted to accomplish with it, though. That's the thing. I mean,
Right,
I think there was a lot of negativity that came out about it, but the awareness for what he was doing was definitely there.
And both were canceled because of their decisions as well.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, our culture decided to cancel both of them. So whatever
Can I share
narrative
why
you
it
want to throw
makes
at
me a
that.
little crabby, though? This is why it makes me crabby, and it's probably because of the world I'm in. I teach middle school, and I try to bring in respect into all my lessons. And of course, the flag, the country, the president, whatever, all comes in not in a political way, but I teach a lot of respect for the flag. Like, kids don't even know why they take their hats off, or why can't we wear hats all the time? And I'm like, seriously, like, cowboys take their hats off at the dinner table because it's a sign of respect. They don't have to. It's a sign of respect. They take their hat when they walk into a church. They take their hat off when the national anthem plays. It's a sign of respect. And so that timing I was talking about makes it very hard to continue teaching those lessons. If an adult in a high power position, he can do what he wants to. I'm not saying he's doing it wrong. I'm just saying, for me, makes it hard. Why doesn't he have to respect it the same as we do? Well, that's a whole different discussion, and I don't know if I can get in on that in my classroom, but let's just suffice it to say he had a beef with something and someone, and that's how he's trying to show his standing. And 7th and 8th grade brains, I don't know if they can wrap it. They can see all the football if they want to, and all the kneeling professional athletes that they want to. And we are not mandated to stand when we say the Pledge of Allegiance every Monday either. And then that becomes a whole different questioning and a whole different lesson. And it's not, while we can say it's okay for you to do that, if they question, or if another student questions, or if they want to have the discussion, there's no two sides. It's just the one side, I guess, is kind of how I'm saying that. And I'm trying to be very politically correct. So that's why, for me, it's a power of position. It's a place of position, and it's a power on that place. And can you explain it? Could Colin come into the classrooms and explain? Maybe that would help. Maybe somewhere out there he's got a good guy video explaining. And if that's the case, it might have. So I'm in 7th and 8th grade. That's it. I'm just going to stay here always. So,
You know what? One of my greatest experiences in life was, literally in life, was when we were in Nashville. We went to Mission Barbecue, and we were late, but we walked in the door, and at noon, when you go to Mission Barbecue, everyone in the place stops what they're doing, and they're piping. They pipe the national anthem through their video system, video and audio, and there wasn't a hesitation in that entire building. It was packed, buttholes to elbows. I can say that. Buttholes to elbows. It was packed, and every single person stopped, stuffing their faces, stood up, and we went through the national anthem.
Hats came off. People stood. Yep. I don't know. It's just a hard. It's
not that hard. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. We got to get back and we got to change the culture back. And this is what we are. I gotta be careful.
Shannon Book. Hey.
Shannon Book. Melt your face off. Woo!
Thank you, Shannon. We're going to finish this conversation.
Nice transition.
Yeah, he's been very busy on positive notes. Can't wait for the final cut, Shannon, to see. Wait,
I know.
Actually,
right?
I need you to figure out how many takes it took, though. How many takes?
Why?
It was one of his posts. He didn't know where he was. Take 5. He was on take 89 and couldn't remember how many there'd been.
A few takes here and there when we're doing what we're doing, but it's all live, so
No.
that's what it is.
Shannon,
Jonathon,
here. I got to tell you, 2 weeks from now, we have Mr. Martini on our show.
Oh, not Mr. Martini, but Mr. Martini, the
Mr. Christopher
videographer. Yes.
Yep. So that'll be cool.
Jonathon, why Bourbon Battle Buddies? Tell me about that.
Well, I wanted to do something, and me and a few of my friends had started a YouTube channel, just kind of messing around. We were like, hey, we get together and have a few drinks. Why don't we just put it on video, It wasn't nothing special. We shot a few reviews or whatever, but I wanted to do something different, and I was at a place where I don't know if it comes with age or whatever, but I was at a place in my life where I wanted to find a way to give back to veterans, and I couldn't think of anything for a while, and I wanted to do a similar YouTube thing, but I also wanted to do it and find a way to give back or promote, in some form. And I just took two of my favorite things and kind of put them together. And I got
so you're saying Bourbon is
Battle
one of your
Buddies.
favorite things. I love it. Have you ran into anybody that says, how dare you?
Myself.
Okay.
Yeah, I've debated this with myself many times. When I threw up Bourbon Battle Buddies, I mean, it was an exciting idea. I finally had, a name, a brand, I could run with it. And as soon as I put it all together and made the sites or all the social media platforms, I started thinking about it, and I'm like, the more I got into the community, the more I realized there was problems with addiction and things like that. And, how can I find a way to promote what I'm doing the way I'm doing it and not step over boundaries that shouldn't be stepped over? You know what I mean?
I totally get what you mean.
It's been a long process because I've worked and listened and looked and followed a bunch of people trying to figure out the best way to approach the situation. And I think we're pretty close to firing something off soon. But
so we have a fundraiser. It's called Pints for Patriots, and we do a piece with some local breweries. And some people have gotten very upset with us and said, how dare you? How dare you use the platform of alcohol to to support veterans when so many of them are struggling with the addiction to alcohol. And I totally 100% get it. And this is, I won't call it a demon, but it's a piece where can you keep everyone happy? And, you know, we've had other people who literally, one of our board members is, congratulations, Jess Sams, 2 years sober. Thank you. That's worth doing that. Perfect timing, I think. Thank you for your service. Thank you for, and the message he brings with it. He's very active when he's active, and right now he's dealing with some family stuff and taking care of the family. But he's always made it very clear to us that, you know, me and Andrea will consume a beverage while we're in front. And we've said, do you need us not to? And he's like, oh, hell no. And he's like, this is my piece that I'm dealing with. It's not for the rest of the world to deal with. I'm the one with the control issue. I'm the one that's going to have to fight this battle. And I tell him, well, we will come by your side and fight with you if that's a piece that you need. We never throw it in his face, but we've got a couple on our network like that. And I totally appreciate the honesty. And you know what? Brian Gibson, he doesn't allow alcohol in his program over at FOD Rush, and we honor and we respect that.
Absolutely.
That's part of his mission. That's what he believes in, and we totally, full-heartedly support that. And again, I appreciate your honesty, and it's a piece that we struggle with at times too, because it's like, hey, I don't want my brothers and sisters to struggle because of that, but I don't struggle with that. And so, I mean, being a school teacher, I like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, but you know what? Some kids got a nut allergy along the way, and I don't want no kid to go down because I want to eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And that's where you got to see where your fortitude is, I guess. That's where we need to figure out. So
I think that's the way to approach it for the most part, you know, I'm not promoting the alcohol so much as I am promoting the veterans, you know what I mean? I'm just using a platform to get there. And I don't have to drink, and if somebody preferred not to, then I'd sit and have the same conversation with them over a bottle of water.
100%.
It's about the conversation, and my intention is to bring people together to have that conversation, because I think a lot of issues are when people get out, myself included. After I got out, you know, I was I guess more pre-social media, maybe MySpace, but a lot of things fell off, you know, a lot of relationships I had, a lot of people I knew, and you know, when you try to rekindle those relationships 10, 12, 15 years down the road, it's a lot different. People have changed, you know, you haven't been there for a large portion of their lives. So I'm trying to bring a way for maybe to bring some camaraderie and give people an open space to talk about, you know, whatever. We're all military buddies, all going through the same stuff. So,
well, there are some people again on our board that have the conversation about, and this might statistically be a wrong number, and I'm just throwing it out there. So don't fact check me on this one. But, you know, there's a gigantic portion of our society that does consume alcohol, does consume. I mean, we got a gigantic portion of our society, our veteran society, that's using CBD. You can argue whether that's a controlled substance. It's not controlled, but a substance. THC, shrooms. I mean, we've got a whole gamut of people that are on a cocktail of meds handed to them by the VA. And again, we're with all of you. Trust me. If that's a piece you need to work through, get hold of us. I've known guys that have gone cold turkey. I wouldn't recommend that personally. I would go through your provider and figure out if that's a piece that you can do. I get it. I get it, and we're here to help. And again, thank you for your candidacy. That's not the right word. Help me, language arts. Thank you for your transparency. Transparency. That's what. And we just need to stop talking about doing a 1 hour show because we can't get it done in a 1 hour. We just got to stop talking about that. That's not going to happen tonight for sure.
No.
Tammy Jo, what song you want to do now? Oh.
Doesn't matter. Just pick one.
Just pick one. Andrea, were you going to say something?
No, well, it was tied to the last conversation. I was letting it marinate a little bit, but just Jonathon, it's part of this is what we keep saying over and over again. We're not going to catch the whole. We'll have our network. It's going to overlap. We've already overlapped with Tammy Jo and some of those pieces. We've overlapped with Bourbon Battle Buddies. We won't overlap with some parts of your reach. And you won't overlap with some of our parts. And that's why there has to be so many of us. So it's okay. Mm-hmm. And I know Bourbon isn't your focus. Helping is your focus. But think of how many people you've collected because of your cool name. I mean, I saw it the first night you were here. And I was like, who's that? I got to figure that one out because it's a cool name. And that's kind of just I was just on the phone with another person who I'd like to get on the show. And we've heard a lot of warrior names out there, but just here in Minnesota, we've got 4 or 5 that will be coming. Well, we've had 1 come in already. And we've got 2 or 3 more with the name warrior in there, just to catch and to pick up that side as well. That a lot of it doesn't overlap with our group. Some of it does. And so I'm always in amazement and awe over how many groups like us there are out there. We are doing the grind. We're doing our thing. We started out with all the awareness. We're doing the boots on the ground. We're moving forward. We've run into this new music piece as well, where we can still be helpful. But there's so many other groups out there, and I'm not trying to get in their way because they're helping who they help, and we're helping who we help. And sometimes we're helping the same people, and sometimes we need them to help our people. And so it's an amazing cooperation of time, talent, and treasure, of putting ideas together, of coordinating events together. Sometimes, not always. We just got to keep going. We got to keep going and building that way. And those that you maybe put off, someone else will pick them up. They'll find a group that fits them. And so we have a couple of people in our group too that are like, geez, sit down and have your drink. I'm fine. And I know some of them probably aren't. Some of them we shouldn't be having drinks when they're there. And so then you got to kind of figure that out too in your mind. And you do.
Well, and interesting enough, that was one of the conversations right off the bat when we were putting the People's Patriot Project together, was that we had marketing people wanting us to specialize in either do PTSD or do military sexual trauma. And I'm like, no, we're not. We're gonna have a wide spectrum. We are going to open the door to all opportunities. It is a piece where, and we didn't know at the time that we were building this media mogul mountain of huge success. We'll pretend that for a second. But that, we are close to 100, we're close to 200 veteran organizations within our network that, Derek Iozio is on here tonight. Musician Shannon Book is on here tonight. Brian Gibson comes on regularly. I didn't even see all the pieces.
Jeremy Daniels is here every time.
Daniels, yeah.
Scott Taylor.
Gary Hine with Rollout PTSD with
yes, Mike.
Terrible. Yes, Mike Ledford. Thank you. A musician, Scott D. Taylor, Jennifer Lindsay, a musician. The list tonight is just going on and on and on.
Travis Partington, Oscar Mike, Timothy Newton. Who else?
We're creating
Tammy Schroeder. She's ours.
Tammy Schroeder. I'll
Nope.
tag her as a musician. How's that? Yeah.
Yes, she is a musician.
She is a musician.
She sings no matter where, no matter what.
It's
awesome. Thank
this
you,
is
Derek.
this is a storefront of opportunity, and we're not going to give up. And each facet is going to accommodate someone's needs. That's why we welcome everyone here. That's why we want to have the tough conversations. I don't like hearing that her service wasn't great. That breaks my heart. I selfishly get to say that my experience was phenomenal. But again, I don't like sharing this piece. I shared it with Jonathon before. I mean, I spent 14 years in the Army, and I never got a higher rank than E4. And it wasn't because I was a dumb butt. I just there were some things that got in my way, and I was on it. But I was doing 06 details, to be honest with you, and it is what it is. Everyone had a different experience. Bottom line is, we get to showcase the amazing piece of service to an amazing country that's given us the opportunity to do so much. And I think that's the foundation of why we come together, is because I know it hasn't been perfect for everyone. I've said this 1,000 times. It hasn't been perfect for everyone. But in this less than a 300-year-old country, which is really short, I mean, that's like 7 generations. That's not very many generations. We have grown immensely. We've tried to right some wrongs, and I don't know that we're doing a great job with it, but we're getting there. And we got a lot more resiliency than I don't know if that's the right word.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know where you're going, but I don't think it's the right word.
I know. I was babbling for a minute. So we need to celebrate where we've been and where we've come is what we need to do.
Exactly.
That's the bottom line. So we were talking about doing a song, weren't we?
I know. Look at
That was a long
segue.
time ago. Way to go.
Shannon, you are not wrong. I love it. Yep. We did. You're right. 100% right.
100%.
So I'm an
There's
English teacher, but
things-
that's my history teacher lesson. I teach that for history. Just
What's
take
that?
a look. What have we done in a short amount of time? Look at what we've done. Yeah.
Being willing to have a conversation, and we're not done. Don't get me wrong. Look at our culture right now. We need, the middle needs to come together, and we need to go talk to the guys that think, and gals who think they're upstairs, and we'll get that figured out too. Real conversations.
Yeah.
One teardrop too late, or spread my wings and fly.
Ooh.
Do the one. That's a duet I did with Bob Kennedy. Absolutely love that song.
One teardrop too late. Any like pre-set up for this, or?
No, it's just a song that Bob Kennedy wrote. It's just about a man that's losing a woman. She's had all she can take, and she's leaving. She's cried all she can cry.
All right, we got Tammy Jo Dabbs and Bob Kennedy. One teardrop too late.
Today I told her that I was sorry for all the times I've hurt her, and that I'd never break her heart like before. She didn't cry, and in her eyes I saw a new expression. Then she told me as she walked out the door,
You one teardrop too late. I cried my last tear for you today. One too many lies left no tears to cry. Now you one teardrop too late.
what heartache means and all the pain I must have caused her. Now I see I really cheated on me, and I don't blame her for not believing me. When I told her I was sorry, I could taste a teardrop as I watched her leave. She said,
You one teardrop too late. I cried my last tear for you today. You dried my crying eyes with one too many lies. Now you're one teardrop too late. One too many lies, left no tears to cry. Now you're one teardrop too late.
now you're one teardrop too late.
I like
I
it.
love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did really good, right?
Well, you did really good right there. It's just awesome to see. Sometimes you're stuck for words because it's like that is a song that lets me remember the way life should be. I mean, and again, I know that there's a heartache in the song, and the teardrop. Should. This is a country related issue, in my opinion. It's what we're talking about. You could, and that's where I'm going, translate that teardrop as we can't have one teardrop too late in what we're doing. We've got to continue and work through this, and that's the piece. That's the message I got out of your song, in the fact that we need to stop losing the people that we have tried to get to serve this country and who can't find those pieces. We need to continue and have, now I'll use the word resiliency, to the point where we can celebrate those that are here so we can celebrate those that aren't here. Because when you're gone, we don't get to hear the stories anymore. So, and I know I'm digging a little bit here, but that's when you're in my position and what we're doing, that's where I always turn to, is how do we make things better? The teardrops are going to fall and they'll continue to fall, but there will never be one that's going to fall. That's going to be my last teardrop, because we have got to make sure that we are taking care of those that have taken care of us. So I know that's not your message in the song, but that's where I went.
No, I mean, it's always supposed to relate different to everybody, but I appreciate what you and Andrew do, and even the Bourbon buddies, because that's what it takes. Everybody working together.
100%. What's next for Bourbon Battle Buddies? What are you going to go? Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? What do you need a hand with? What's the mission? What are you going to get done?
The mission is to have I guess kind of similar to what you guys are doing. I want to have an open line of communication for anybody that needs it. You know what I mean? We can sit down and talk about whatever. I want I want to create a place where people feel free to come and share whatever's on their heart, whatever's bothering them. And then, as long as I can, wake up in the morning and be motivated, I want to share my motivation with everybody else, and just spread positivity.
People will not believe, and this is our direct data that I've taken in, and you're talking about conversations, and One of the things that me and Andrea and the WeP3 team have decided, we are done, and this is not to foil what you're saying, because I'll make this a circle here. We're done with having the conversation about bringing recognition or realization that there's a problem. There are 17 to 75 people committing suicide a day within veterans and first responders. That's a problem. Jeremy Daniels, we're with you, brother. Let us know what we can do to be supporting you. We are with you, man. 90% of the people who actually call the People's Patriot Project just want to know there's someone else on the other side of the line. And we have a commitment that we will return that phone call, return that message within 20 minutes of receiving it. And we've done astronomically pretty phenomenal considering the jobs we have. Because of our network, we've been able to get people, what's the word I want to use? Not deployed, in motion. We'll say in motion. Someone will come up with the right word for me in a second. But we've had a veteran on the side of the road down in Florida who was suicidal, suicide ideation, and had family in another part of the country. And we were able to get someone by their side within 40 minutes. That's because of the network. We don't take credit for that. It's because of the network that has been built because of we're working with Jonathon with Bourbon Battle Buddies. He's down in the southern part of the United States. You can give more details if you'd like to, Jonathon. But and there's no secrets here. But I know that well, here's an example. Bobby Krutzinger reached out to me this week and said, we've got someone through our network who's in Minnesota. Can you give him a hand? And we started doing the research. And I don't know that it's going to fit our narrative, so to speak. Not that we're going to let anyone stand on the side of the curb. There's just some pieces that are in it that it's just like doesn't quite fit what we do. Doesn't mean that we're not trying to find help for them. And that is back to another point. We are called We the People, the People's Patriot Project, where we're here to help everyone. Yes, first of all, we are here to take care of veterans and first responders. But back to the circle, you have to have a conversation. 90% of the people that reach out to us just are happy that someone is on the other side. They'll say, hey, this organization won't return my phone call, my email, and I got a postcard from this one. And I'm sorry, that's garbage. When people are reaching out, they're reaching out in crisis. They're in crisis right now. They want an answer right now. And we can't always provide the answer for them, but we have a voice. We have an ear. We listen to them. We have a network, and we have tools to help. That's the difference between us and other organizations that are saying that they're helping veterans and first responders. And so we appreciate you, Jonathon. I know that if we ever had someone that needed to have an ear to listen to, you'd be that person, and that we could utilize you as a tool in our network. And so I hope you feel the same on our side.
To kind of go, I would 100% listen to anything anybody had to say, but just to kind of go along with what you were just saying, I wrote it down somewhere. I got like 12 notebooks, and one of them, I wrote this down the other day. There's 8 billion people on this planet, right? And there's a lot of people that feel like when they're in that situation that they're the only people, and you just possibly couldn't understand what they're going through. Somebody knows exactly what you're going through. And if you have enough of those conversations, and through people like People's Patriot Project, when y'all have these conversations, y'all are collecting more of these people that you can put together, and somebody that's been through this situation before. And I think that's really what I guess I'm trying to build, is that network of, I can't relate to everything everybody says, but I want to be able to put people and help people in any way I can. And it's not necessarily me helping them so much as putting them in connection with the people who can.
Well, it's like back to one of our original conversations tonight. The fact that military sexual trauma was a thing for males blew me away. And since then, we've been able to put other organizations, other people in play that helps us understand those pieces. And it is a learning opportunity for me. But it doesn't stop the fact that when that call comes in, I can understand that it exists now. If our person back in the early 2018 would have said, hey, I need help with my military, I would have been like, what are you talking about, man? How is this even possible? And but again, it was an opportunity for me to learn and grow and find out the details and be able to be a support to that and for that. And again, which kind of another round full circle piece was there's a documentary out right now on Netflix called I Am Vanessa Gillian. That's the documentary that Oscar Mike, Travis Partington is featured and showcasing. And actually, we had, and this I'm going to be terrible because I won't remember his name, our last clothing guy.
Clothing.
Do you remember, Andrea? T-shirt guy.
Oh yeah, Timothy.
Grunt Style.
Tim.
Yeah. Yes. He has been involved in that mission and helping get that word out. And so Grunt Style is part of that mission. And again, so that's part of our network, Tammy Jo, and I just had to put all the pieces back into play. And this brain doesn't always work the way it probably would for most people. And that's what Andrea gets to work with, this brain.
Timothy Jensen. Got it.
Yes.
Mr. Jensen.
And there's another young lady who is featuring that. And again, we haven't had her on for a guest, so I won't say her name yet. But anyway, thank you, brother. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your continued service. Tammy Jo, what's next for you?
I'm just gonna keep writing, singing, and performing. Just gonna follow my dreams and my passion.
Do you have some big venues, big concerts, or anything booked for the next year?
We're working on it currently to get some big shows scheduled. So can't really say anything right now till it's finalized. Yeah, it's in the making.
We know
Very
what
cool.
you're talking about. We know what you're talking about.
Very cool.
Andrea, anything for you?
I was just gonna first of all thank these two for being on here. We're getting compliments on the show, and sometimes I feel like we just got here. Shoot. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I don't know. Sometimes you just get that kindred feeling, and it happens. And I tend to go with my sixth sense about that, I guess you could say. And then next week we want to, I think, Tammy Jo, this is a friend of yours. Next week we have Holly Ann coming.
She's a very good friend.
I love, I had a conversation with her. Well, shoot, it's got to be not quite a year ago. And talk about a bubbly, happy, oh my gosh, she was just an energy that I just couldn't wait to meet. And then we got busy with putting things together, and now it's kind of come full circle. So,
yeah, she's my Loretta Lynn. That's what I like to think of her as.
Love it.
Well, we've been blessed by both of you, and the conversations with Holly as well, and just the conversations with you, Tammy. Make sure both of you guys hang around for a minute after this. We'll have a little dialogue and do our post show. I do want to remind everyone that this is our time and chance. Everyone's got a phone, and this is a chance to do your reach out to your battle buddy. Pardon the pun here. If they're a bourbon battle buddy, all the better. But reach out to those who you haven't heard from for a while. I've got we do this by a 6-pack, and I hope that's not a trigger there, because you can get a 6-pack of pop too. But we do this by a 6-pack because it takes about 6 seconds to reach out to each of them. So 6 times 6, 36 seconds. Reach out, and it literally does save a life. If there are people that you think are strong and you haven't heard from them, reach out to them. It's sometimes the ones that are the strongest are the one that are hurting the most, and because they would never have a problem, right? They're too busy leading to have any problems.
No,
but
and you know what? On that note, because we just talked about this, if you have friends that are leading nonprofits like this and they're always helping other people, they sure could use a quick check-in as well. Maybe more, but a quick check-in and a reminder to take care of themselves, or things won't continue to work the way they should.
I feel like you're sending some.
It's not personal. No, it's not personal, but you know.
Yeah. What an amazing story. What an amazing mission that both of you have. And one through your voice, well, both through your voices. Both your voices are part of the mission. So keep doing good work. And if you ever need support from us, let us know what that is. And we're always here for you. And remember, we have vowed, this is 100% a collaboration. If you like what you're seeing, tell us. If you don't like what you're seeing, let us know. Have a conversation with us. Those people we have problems with don't have conversations with us, and that's the truth. And so come be part of the mission, be part of the shock and awe. We will end tonight's show with Mrs. Dabbs. Mrs. Dabbs? Yes, Mrs. Dabbs. Spread my wings and fly. Anything you want to say about that?
Every word of it's true. I'm spreading my wings and I'm flying away.
There we go. Come check us out. Well, we'll see you tomorrow on our weekly debrief at 4:30. If you're interested in finding out the specifics at what WeP3 is working on, the People's Patriot Project. And if not, our guest next week. We have to work on one because we had a cancellation. And we have Holly. Yeah.
And we have Holly. Yep.
So, but we'll get that spot filled. It's all good. We got plenty of people knocking at the door. So, we've got Mrs. Dabbs with Spread My Wings and Fly.
I've got to focus, I've got to concentrate. I've got to hustle cause I'm running late. The clock is ticking, the years are passing by. I've got to hurry, spread my wings and fly. I've got to spread my wings and fly like an eagle in the sky. I've got to feed on my own rage like a bird out of a cage. I've got to spread my wings and fly like a jet plane 8 miles high, soaring into the stratosphere, overcoming every fear. I've got to function, I've got to get things done. I'm getting stronger, gonna be number one. My time is coming, the people know I've tried. The final victory is on my side. I've got to spread my wings and fly like an eagle in the sky. Got to feed off of my own rage like a bird out of a cage. I've got to spread my wings and fly like a jet plane 8 miles high, soaring into the stratosphere, overcoming every fear. No one can stop me now. stop me now. I've got to spread my wings and fly like an eagle in the sky. I've got to feed off my own rage like a bird out of a cage. I've got to spread my wings and fly like a jet plane 8 miles high, soaring into the stratosphere, overcoming every fear. No one can stop me now. No one can stop me now.
Left, your left, left right, your left. You got it.
Truck it off.